up, everyone? Welcome to Wonder Woman Wednesday. I am Jared, and today we are discussing why I think the DCAU Wonder Woman is, quite frankly, one of the worst versions of the character to exist in a very long time. So we're going to start with my first point. She was way too aggressive. Now, here's the thing about Diana. Again, like she referenced last week's episode, and I'll put a link to watch it up here, is Wonder Woman is like a balance of being the peacemaker and the warrior. And we barely got to see that in the DCAU. We got like one episode which is dealing with her like combating climate change. And that's important. That's part of her being a diplomat, but we never saw anything else about like her or her like peaceful side, as opposed to her overly aggressive side, where it's like there's an entire episode where she's upset that there's like a criminal doing stuff on her day off and she's like overly aggressive.
I try to take a day off, try to have a semblance of a normal life, but you had to pick today to rob a bank.
Hey, please! I've learned my lesson. I promise!
No, you haven't.
Or it's like when Superman died and it's like she has Toyman by his neck. She goes, I'm going to punch a hole in your head. And Flash has to talk her down. And I go, that's not Diana. Diana would never do that. Then again, this is the universe where they considered Wonder Woman to be a less interesting character than Harley Quinn. Yes, that is very true. They thought that Harley Quinn was, in their words, a better role model for women than Wonder Woman. Anyway, so number two, her relationship with Batman, or lack thereof. Because here's the thing about this. This is the other part that I hated. Wonder Woman in the DCAU is basically Bat Simp. Everything she did in the show when she was with Batman was essentially to like attract him and stuff. And it gets creepy when you compare it to the fact that Dwayne McDuffie had indicated that they considered Wonder Woman to be like 18 years old and Batman's like 40. So I'm like, that's very creepy, guys. And it's like, it's just the fact that that's like the only thing they really use her for. And I'm like, what? That's not the character. And it's one of the reasons why I really dislike this version of Wonder Woman, because that led to the idea, in my mind, that established the precedent, or at least majorly contributed to the precedent, that writers only care about Wonder Woman when it's like her love interest. And that's a problem there.
Sorry.
Don't be.
So then you get to the third option, which is the Hawkgirl situation. And this goes hand in hand with her being too aggressive. But when Hawkgirl, like, air quote, betrayed the League but ended up turning good, Wonder Woman was very passive aggressive, very like snooty. And I'm like, again, that's not Diana, because here is the thing. Diana would recognize that Hawkgirl ultimately chose man's world, or like humanity, and like turned against her own people. And she would understand, okay, so Hawkgirl, yes, was working against us, but then she worked on our side for a while. So there is that. And I'm like, I'm not a big fan of like how Diana was like overly mean to Shayera going forward months. Like from even when Shayera was in the Justice League for a while, that's it. Like all of a sudden you're just all mean. I don't like that. And then we get to the fourth point, which she didn't get any real attention, which this is a double-edged sword, because yes, while I don't like this version of Wonder Woman, it would have been nice if they gave her like an episode or two. I mean, they gave her a few, but it's like, then you get the episode where they're like, what if maybe we think Hades is her father. And I go, okay, Hades being the father of Diana, that's worse than the Zeus origin. Yes, I'm going to say that. That is actually worse than the Zeus origin. But then you do like the peace episode where it's like, again, Diana is overly aggressive. It's like every episode that was like, you could argue a Wonder Woman episode was either focused on another character, except for, there was one in Justice League where it's about her island, or you get there's always something stupid that they do with it. Like have Diana be banned from returning to her to her homeland at first.
Diana, I have no choice. It is with a heavy heart that I must exile you from Themyscira.
What? Granted, they later on did that because it was freaking stupid. Or had other characters playing the role that Diana should play, like with the peace-loving part with Dove. It's like every single time you think that they may have gotten like a little bit of like that they may have learned a lesson, they later like completely destroyed it. So that's like my point in terms of like adaptations of Wonder Woman in general. It's not the worst, because trust me, there have been like worser adaptations, i.e. that CW adaptation of Wonder Woman that they did a pilot of. But in terms of the DCAU, yeah, it's the worst. That's why when people hold this up as like the most ideal version of these characters, I always have to say, no, it's not. It is not. In terms of Batman, you can make that argument for Batman. Superman, sure. In terms of Wonder Woman, it is one of the worst adaptations of Wonder Woman to exist. I'm gonna make that claim. But anyway, that's where I'm gonna leave it. Stay heroic. Consider becoming a member, because if you become a member, you get these a day early, and I'm gonna be really expanding what I offer to members in the coming days and weeks and year, as a matter of fact. And in terms of you get all this other Wonder Woman content. So if you're a Wonder Woman fan that want to see a lot more Wonder Woman content on YouTube, that's Comics League. So go ahead and subscribe to that. We will be launching the relaunch campaign for Athena, the Goddess of Thunder, this coming Friday. So I'm going to play the trailer before we log off. But stay heroic, everyone. Remember, Steve Trevor, Steve Never. He belongs in the bottom of a hydraulic press. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.
My home has been invaded, my people slaughtered, and I could not do anything to stop it. Not again. I will not lose another home, another family. I am Princess Lyra of the planet Sintragar, Athena, the Goddess of Thunder, and this is my story.